This is the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 336 for the week of Monday, September 8th, 2014. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
On today's show, we have two very special guests. First, from FUNimation, we have the One Piece brand manager, Josh Kocurek. Hey, Josh.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
It's going great. I appreciate the invite. I always love coming on and talking to you guys.
You're always welcome. And it's nice we get to talk to you about the manga this week, as well as the anime. We also have a very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul. Hey, Stephen.
Wasabi. Remember that, guys?
From 2000.
Sorry, I have to cut this off early because I have to go to a shooting of VH1's I Love the 90s. with a gun. I'm gonna shoot Michael Ian Black.
I do remember that because me and the dude talked about it last week on our new spin-off podcast, 20 Minutes of Bullshit.
Whoa, self-promotion.
Plug.
Yes.
It's on the same feed, so I'm fine with that. Yeah, check that out. And, yeah, I think that's... yeah, if you want, check that out. That's basically it. We have a lot of stuff in this show, so we're going to get into it in a second. Let's just go through what we have. First, we have a manga recap of chapter 759, a really, really good chapter. Everyone here joins us for that. We have a recap of volume 75. Lots of cool stuff in there. Excited to get into that. We have pieced together and a double anime recap. The Toonami recap, because we have so much stuff to do, is going to return next week.
And that's anime recap for episodes 659 and 660, the Riku flashback.
Nice. It's excited to get into that as well. On our website this week, you can check out a look at the Tokyo One Piece Tower. Really cool plans and designs for that. More information about the sequel to the One Piece 500 quiz book. Well, I should say also, for the Tokyo One Piece Tower, they're taking the Tokyo Tower and making it One Piece themed. So that's pretty awesome in itself. We also, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. We still have a lot of 3D 2Y stuff out. If you haven't checked out the movie, you could check it out on FUNimation's site, on One Piece Official, or on Crunchyroll. It's available both of there. I finally got to see it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, Ed, your criticism is right. It was 2 hours long almost.
Yeah.
But you know what? I liked it. I'd watch it again. It was a lot of fun, and they had a lot of. I think I figured out why I like the movie. It's basically fan service, not in the way we normally. Although there was that fan service as well. But
Yeah, you can't ignore that.
No, but it was catering to the fans. There was all this to longtime fans.
It wouldn't be the first thing I would show a new One Piece fan or someone that hasn't seen One Piece before.
It's a great treat, though. And Josh, thank you for bringing it to us.
Hey, no problem, guys. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't use that as a icebreaker. I mean, especially with Ace at the beginning.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I also loved it. I think the fan service was spot on. I'm a huge fan of Buggy, and it's nice to see Boa because you know we haven't seen her for so long. So.
Yeah, and there you have the fan service euphemism a little more. But no, it was. We're not going to probably see her again for a while, so it's nice to see that character come back in that form, and Rayleigh, a lot of Rayleigh.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it. I'm sure I could talk about it a lot longer, but why don't we get into the show? You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yay.
The following segment utilizes our AAC feed, so if you have iTunes, the podcast app, an iOS device, or something else that utilizes the M4A format, when you hear this noise, you will see an image corresponding with what's going on in the conversation. So I hope you enjoy, and if not, you're not missing all that much. Go out and pick up Volume 75 when it is available in your region. So without further ado, let's get into the recap. This is a volume recap for volume 75 for Paying the Debt. Steven, let's get into this.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, can I start off with a sob story?
Well, you could start out with whatever story you'd like.
Okay. So those of you who follow my Twitter account may know, because I've been talking about this. Where I live, there was a longtime bookstore in a giant Japanese supermarket that I would always get the One Piece volumes from, and a couple other series that you'd always know that they would have the latest volume of whatever it was, and they recently just shut down. I don't know what's going to go in that space now. There is a Book Off, which is a used Japanese bookstore, but they don't necessarily are going to have brand new volumes. So I had to order all this stuff from Amazon. Fortunately, Zach was nice enough to take pictures of this stuff from his volume. But yeah, man, ordering from Amazon Japan is really expensive, just in comparison. It's not insanely so, but it's like basically half the price is shipping and handling. But I did order the second volume of the quiz book as well, so we'll have that to go over at some point in the future, since that was a lot of fun last time. But here we are. We're talking about volume 75. On the cover, we have yet another kind of very busy, kind of jumbled thing. We have Pika looming over everyone in the background, and on the sides you have Sabo and Koala on one side and Fujitora on the other, and in the middle, standing on their Hollywood star, we have Luffy, Kyros, Zoro, and Law. And I don't know, it seems like an okay cover, I guess. I'm not super thrilled about it, but I'm also not. It's not as busy as some of his other ones, so.
Well, why don't we go around?
Okay.
I think there were other opinions. Steve, of the cover of volume 75.
It's another, standard cover. I kind of like when characters are put into like rectangles and stuff, like dating back to One Piece volume 9, which is still one of my favorite covers of all time. I kind of like when characters are kind of put into panels. It's cool looking. I mean, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. I guess I keep forgetting it's One Piece because I'm kind of surprised that Koala. First of all, her hair looks very orange, very, very close to Nami. But I'm surprised she's that orange and red. I feel like Sabo, at least he wears black. He doesn't seem to garner too much attention. Yeah, but Koala's is out and like, hey, look at me, red and orange. I'm a spy. Shh.
Yeah, and in addition to that, if you take off the front cover and look at the underneath illustration, I love that Oda is continuing this. He's keeping it up with the Panda Man cameos. And speaking of Koala, there he is, little Panda Man faces right on her goggles, which is great. I hope he just keeps doing this. Like, unless he gets an even better idea, I would be perfectly happy with some kind of kooky Panda Man insertion into the color illustration for every volume going on.
Ed, did you have thoughts about the cover also?
Not particularly. It's not. I guess I don't look at the covers that much before I buy the volumes.
I really like this one. I guess I'm the only one who did, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like one of my favorites, but it's a good one. I think it's good. I guess I just needed to put my 2 cents in there for some reason. Anyway, keep going, Stephen.
All right. Well, let's look at the author comment on the inside flap, and in this case, Oda says, well, recently when you see new products, it seems like he has a thing about talking about new products or methods of advertising. But at any rate, he says, when manufacturers and companies are trying to differentiate their products by color, they won't say brown, they'll say chocolate. And they won't say red, they'll say rose. It's like, I kind of like that. It's kind of stylish. You get champagne gold or mint or wine, ruby, cherry, chocolate, caramel, natto, rice, miso soup, dried plums. Now starts Snot Colored, Volume 75. And if you look in the illustration, you can actually see that his drawing of that pretty lady has a fine little thread of boogers dripping out of her nose. So there you go. Oda in fine form, I guess. Yeah. And this is
it fits with Treble being in this. I think he's in this volume. I forget if he's in it.
Yeah, he probably is.
A little bit.
Yeah, and this is a kind of standard 10-chapter volume. It's not a crazy 11 or 12. It's just your standard 10.
It's definitely smaller than the last few.
Yeah, he's had some big ones recently. Nothing particularly interesting, I think, in the character profiles. So let's just get right to the SBS. The first one we have, the top illustration is a couple of rows of guys in the Kurita Coliseum. I'm really upset that this artist did not include the giraffe, since that's obviously the only toy in the audience that really matters.
Well, there's Panda Man.
Yeah, there is Panda Man, and some other familiar ones. But at any rate,
I think Steve could attest, though, that he's upset that it's not the exact same crowd that we see every single time we see the crowd in the anime. Making that I can't do it. I don't know how to do it in the air without visualizing it.
I'm doing the finger thing.
The finger thing means the taxes. I know, but anyway, go ahead.
So the traditional first letter is starting the SBS, and this guy just says, "Here we go, let's start the PTA." And Oda's like, "Oh my God, that's Parent Teacher Association. No, it's SBS." So
the PTA is disbanded.
He jumps out the window.
How many Simpsons references are we fitting in this?
Yeah,
enough. And we'll keep going until you stop asking that question.
Here we go. The next question, this guy says, the midterms are nearly upon us, so there's only one thing for me to do, and that is to be the Pirate King. Oda says, "No, you're doing the wrong thing." So great, just roaring at the gate here with these questions. But
I thought he meant the midterm election.
I can't wait to get to the wiener jokes.
Yeah. So the next question is pretty good. It's another Admiral sort of jokey question. This person says, "Odachi, hey, so in the last SBS, you introduced the sexy dynamite Admiral Momo Usagi, and I have a picture here of the other Admiral Chaton." Which stands for brown pig, who proposed to Momo Usagi 100 times and got shot down 100 times. So how is this? And he has this drawing of, it's basically an anthropomorphic pig wearing his justice coat backwards. So the kanji are on the front. And Oda says, he kind of runs with it again. He's like, "Oh, this isn't the actual Admiral. It's the same thing. It was a candidate for Admiral, just like Momo Usagi." And then he draws his own version of Chaton, which is it's kind of cool that he's sort of doing these sort of jokey character designs based on reader submissions. But he goes into a little bit of depth here, and he says, in fact, there was a time when I was thinking of making the next round of Admirals based on, pig or a kappa. Because then you could have Kizaru is yellow monkey, so you would have monkey, pig, and kappa, which is basically the grouping for Sayuki, the Journey to the West. So if you remember early Dragon Ball, that was largely based around that or themed around that, and that's why you had Goku, who was a monkey, and then Oolong, who was a pig. And he decided, I decided to not do that, and instead I went with Tora or tiger and Ushi or bull or cow. And he says, "I have a reason, but I won't tell you." Now, I do wonder at this point, I know you guys are not any more familiar with this, but there's a just keeping in Oda's kind of patterns of having this very clear affinity for old Japanese films and like sort of classic traditional Japanese films. There's a really long-running series called Otoko wa Tsuraiyo, which means it's hard to be a man. And the main character of those films is a guy called Tora-san. And in fact, I think probably right now, as I'm saying this, friend of the podcast, Joey Weiser, who I know is really into that kind of stuff, is probably like, "Oh, I know exactly what he's referring to, or what Oda's going for." So I feel like maybe there's some kind of theme with like classic Japanese cinema characters. And this guy, of course, in the illustration is kind of I don't know, he's got a fedora type hat on. And definitely looks the part, looks like that sort of realistic actor portrayal that he's been doing. So that is that entry of the SBS. The next one here, this one, the header image is Chopper playing Connect the Dots with some stars.
He's stargazing.
Yeah, there you go. It almost feels like just the way that he drew this, almost like a throwback to Drum, although he's wearing his post-time skip hat. So, yeah, the first question here is saying, I was reading volume 63 back in the Fishman Island arc, and I was noticing something. Isn't that little human girl that Tiger sent to the village? Wasn't her name Koala? I mean, can you explain this for me, Oda?
I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm confused. You're right. Exactly. What's going on here? What could this possibly mean? Please, people, step your game up. This is sad. I'm kind of disappointed that he actually chose this one because it's so fucking obvious. But
Hey,
at any rate,
the kid's 5 years old. Give him a break.
we can assume so.
Just gonna say, did they say?
Yeah. Well, so Oda prefaces this by saying, you know what? If you didn't notice, it would be totally fine if you just saw her as a new character altogether. But thankfully, many people noticed. I hazard to say 90% of the audience probably noticed. But at any rate, yes, he says. The Revolutionary Army is made up of a lot of people who have, kind of strong reasons for opposing the current way of the world, and based on the fact that through this story, we saw her associated with these fishmen as a child, and now she is a fisherman karate instructor or a co-instructor or whatever the title was. You can kind of imagine how her life went between when we saw her before in the flashback and when we see her now. So it's kind of interesting. And he says that to me, Koala basically led the opposite life that Hody did. So she's very meaningful to him. So he gives a good answer to it, I guess.
Yeah, stupid question, good answer. How it works.
And here come the dick jokes.
Finally.
So,
wiener, 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 wiener.
Just get you in the mood. So this person says, "Hi, I am a 24-year-old shark-loving young lady. So sharks are famous for having two penises. Does that mean that Hody has two dicks?"
Is that true, by the way?
I don't know. I did not do research on this question.
I don't really want to research it.
Yeah. And she asks, Odachi, how many wieners do you have? And Oda's like, what? They have two? And I just imagine him doing them in that the tone of voice of Nicolas Cage, where he's like, what? You selling penis, my ears? It's like, what? Sharks have two penises? Wow, I didn't know that. That's famous? Really? And he's like, man, I drew all these sharks, but I had no idea. And he's like, okay, well, yeah, in that case, Hody has two wieners. In fact, he doesn't. He has two ding dongs, so he has ding ding dong dongs. And he's like, I have just one. I'm fine with one, thank you.
I guess if you're going to respond to a dick joke, it might as well be a ding ding dong dong.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. Actually, in Japanese, the word is chin chin, so he just says chin 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 chin. But I don't think there's a
I think you found the English.
Yeah, I think I found it. Yeah,
You're already getting your work done ahead of time.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's right. Right. Got to scout these out before I hit it. So, anyways, next SBS segment we have I kind of like this one. The cover image. It's Fujitora slurping his ramen, and the ramen is making all the letters.
This is probably one of my favorites. I really like this one. It's just well done too, and it's ridiculous at the same time. So
yeah, I mean, given Fujitora is obviously a very kind of heavy. He's a very dense character. There's like a lot of facets to him, but I really like the ramen slurping thing. I hope that it does more with that. So the first question is kind of a background one. This person is asking, what's the deal with those tails that the Tentatas have? What are those things growing on their butts? And he's like, yeah, well, that's what they are. They're tails. And they look kind of fluffy, but he says they're actually, it's a tail. It's got hard bone and muscle on the inside. So it helps them, it kind of helps their agility, and it can be used as a bludgeoning weapon in battle. So there you go. That's what those things are. And the next question is from someone. She asks, I always thought that my husband had the sticky fruit because his face and his neck and his armpits are always sticky. But then Treble shows up and he has the sticky fruit. So what powers do my husband have after all? And Oda's just like, oh, he's just oily or greasy or something like that. So great. The last question is about the lighter that Sanji used in Film Z, and it seems to be the same as used in the Hands Up opening sequence at the beginning of that. I don't know which is
product integration.
Which question or which song is that? Is that one of the openings?
Hands Up, yeah. Hands Up was the last one. It's not the current one. We're in Wake Up right now. Hands Up was the prior one.
Okay.
Next up will be Get Up, followed by
First of the Month. Bone Thugs and Harmony. All right. So yes, and Oda even has he puts in some images here to point this out. Yes. He points out that he did a personal collaboration with the French lighter company DuPont for the lighter right around the time that they were doing the Film Z. And so he says the lighter that he designed showed up in the movie.
Oh, yeah. We remember that.
Yep.
I believe there was a 2-minute scene featuring the lighter.
Wait, hold on. Shut up, everybody. Sanji's got to light his cigarette. That sexy lighter.
He points out that he even slipped it into volume 67, chapter 663 in his own manga. And he's like, wait, did I mention this? Well, whatever. I'm positive that we went over, at the very least, I know Greg mentioned it.
We definitely talked about it.
Okay, cool. And he even says, like, if you just go to Google image search and put in like DuPont and Oda, you'll find it. And I have to say it's a pretty cool looking design, although it's not what I would expect a lighter to look like. I guess it's very kind of
wasn't it like $10,000?
Oh yeah, it was like gold and just
because otherwise I would totally get it for no particular reason. But it's like $10,000, I think, because DuPont makes like high end.
Yeah. It's a very kind of Art Deco looking thing. It looks I'm
looking up right now. 18,000.
Look very snazzy.
It's 18,000.
Oh, 18,000 yen or
no dollars? According to Crunchyroll, dollars.
Okay.
It's on one of these sites too. All right, this one says 131. 131 yen. That doesn't make any sense. I think it's on like the equivalent of eBay. So pick it up now.
There's no way it could be $18,000.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. DuPont's a lot like
buy a car instead.
DuPont's a lot like Cartier, I think. Like those high end things where you just spend way too much money on something that doesn't. Yeah.
And they probably made like 100 of those things.
Yeah,
and that's about it. All right, so the next SBS.
I'm sorry, it's $195. What the hell? What's 5,000? Oh, the gold one is much more expensive. It's 2,000.
Oh, did they make?
They made
Okay,
several
so they
different
made two
ones.
different. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
that
could get
makes
just
sense.
like a regular one for $195. There's a pen that he drew too, $457.
That's so reasonable. Only $200 for a lighter.
You could so the gold one is $2,872. The gold pen is also that amount. And there's it's 2611. Oh, and then there's another one, a very specially drawn one. We have an AAC feed for this segment, so you'll see these. $18,281. Yeah.
So that's all you wanted to know about the lighter.
It's a cool lighter for $18,800.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I think we've hyped that enough, more than Films Eve, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So the next segment, kind of a pretty boring title here. It's mermaids making the SBS, and Sanji is goo goo gaga. Imagine that. The first question, though, is I really like this guy, so I'm glad that someone pointed this out. This reader is pointing out there was the guy early on in the Colosseum where he recognizes Ricky, who was, King Riku in disguise. And he's like, oh, man, I totally recognize that style of fighting. I've been around for ages. And in fact, I even kind of made that joke when we did the manga recap about it. And this reader points out I think a flashback panel from a few volumes later. He appeared. So this guy first appeared in volume 71, chapter 707, and then this guy picked out a frame from chapter 742 from the last volume, and he says, "So is that this old guy in the past?" And so he really must have been watching Ricky when he was a young gladiator. And Oda says, yeah, so that guy who was watching the masked gladiator Ricky, who was secretly King Riku, did say that he saw him in the past. And it is true that he also appeared as Ricky in the flashback as well, in the Colosseum. And he actually says, oh, you know what? You're close, but you're not exactly right. He is in the flashback scene, but it's not this particular guy that you've pointed out with the arrow. And he points out in chapter 741, a few pages earlier, you actually do see him, and it does look more like the guy. The chin is correct. He's kind of got a cleft chin and kind of rounded cheeks. He's wearing a cap, and he has the same polka dot tie on. But he also points out that if you look at that the panel that the guy sent in of the mistaken person, like over his shoulder is actually the right guy because he has the same cap on, and there's like a zoom in where he points it out. And he comes up with this really goofy name for this guy, where in Japanese it's Mukashimi Tawasan. Which means Mukashi Mitawa, which means I saw him ages ago. So I'm gonna have to come up with something really goofy for that one.
If anyone could do it, Stephen.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure I'll come up with something because there was also the last time he did this was the lady who was looking through her fingers at Bartolomeo's junk, and I think the name that I submitted for that was her name was Pikatha Crotch or something like that. So yeah, there'll be something like that for this guy. And the other question on this SBS is and now we're getting really far back. Volume 57 during Marineford, there is a scene where Luffy jumps onto Hancock, gives her a big old hug, and this is only one. They only give you one panel here, but I had to go back and look at the scene to remember what they were talking about. And he gives her a big old hug, and then she basically passes out and falls to her knees because she can't she's so overcome by emotion that Luffy hugged her. And then all the Marines that are there were like, oh my God, he defeated the pirate empress. What? He gave her a bear hug. He went from a tackle into a bear hug. But in the original Japanese, Oda actually uses some different terms. This is actually going to be a tricky one for me to translate. He calls it a sabaori, which is saba is mackerel, and then ori is break or snap. And this reader was asking, like, what is a mackerel snap? What does that mean? And Oda says that this is actually a sumo term, and it just means like basically like you go in for like a hug, like you go in to hold them, and then you sort of push them backwards so that it sort of pushes them over at the waist. And then they just sort of fall over. And so it's like, so you can see based on Hancock's reaction why the sailors would have made that assumption. So that is that one. Really, again, a very long callback. I'm not sure why that needed to be brought up now, but at any rate.
Priorities.
Yeah. The next SBS, I love this. Here's a good flashback. This or callback. This the header image for this SBS is Luffy versus Eneru, where Luffy is doing his like clear your mind of all earthly thoughts to avoid Eneru using his mantra to read his attacks ahead of time. And so he's like waving back and forth, kind of going like, duh, while Eneru tries to stab him with his trident, and he's making the SBS. And Nami is pointing out how stupid that is. So this page is all about Senor Pink. Oh boy.
Here we go.
So the first question is, as a representative for young women everywhere, Oda, I just have one thing to say. Senor Pink, no. Just no. No. Odachi, is this what you're into? Is this what you think is cool? And Oda is like, yes, it's totally cool. He's like, please do not disrespect the senor. It says here that you are 17 years old. Now, I know when you're young, you tend to judge people based on their appearance, but you're about to see how much of a man he really is. You're going to see what hard-boiled is all about. Just remember this. And I think I probably need to point out that this, of course, is before all of the Frankie and Senor Pink showdown stuff. So I guess he's probably referring to that when we get around to that. And the next question is, I have a question. So if I'm hanging out at the pool and I'm eating a bunch of tomatoes and there happens to be a really cute girl in a bathing suit, could I rip it off and use it to wipe my mouth? That's the same thing is going to happen, right? I mean, that's what you were drawing, right? So, okay, I'm going to go do it. And then she'll fall in love with me, right? All right, I'm going to the pool. Yeah. And then there's just an arrow. And he's like, Odachi, why? I got arrested. Why?
I was going to say, that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah. And and then he has a couple inset illustrations of the scene in question. And Oda's like, oh, wow, you actually did it, huh? Yeah, it's like, I can see why you would look up to Senor like that. And it says here that you are age 13. And he says, okay, so what you need to do is live another 3 decades and then just exude coolness and maturity. And then, and don't worry, I will draw exactly what makes Senor Pink so cool, and that will serve as your guide. So, yeah, Oda, this is not good. This is not good, sir. You're leading a lot of people astray.
And getting people arrested.
Yes, and getting people arrested.
More
yes.
importantly, that's yeah.
And the final SBS, this is our usual info dump section of the SBS.
It's my favorite part.
Oh yeah, it's always stuff that seems to actually bring about discussion and interesting stuff to talk about.
Wake up, Stephen Ed.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. It's the good stuff. So the header image.
I'm here.
Okay.
I think he actually was asleep.
The header image here is Nami doing her rain tempo and making the SBS clouds for Chopper, who is bathing. And the question, this person asks, what is Sugar's real age? Since obviously she does not visually age after she got her powers. And now all he can think about during his tests is Sugar, and now my test scores are ruined. And Oda says, "Oh, I see. Well, that's too bad. Sorry." And
He's ruining everyone.
Yeah. And he says, "Okay, so I wasn't. This is all sort of background info stuff. I wasn't planning to, turn it into a big point, but." Since people are curious, let me point out, first of all, Sugar she isn't actually like some middle-aged lady. She was 10 years old when she got frozen like that, and she is now 22 years old, which is 2 years younger than maybe 5, and I'll go through all the ages in a second. And he has a big illustration of her as a young lady, and she kind of, I don't want to make the usual Nami joke because she still does look like Sugar to me. Like she kind of has that confident smile to her. And she's doing her like, hee hee, oh, you're gross, die thing that she always does with Treble. And he lists everybody's ages here in the Doflamingo family. So I don't know, should we go through them one by one or should I just list them all off?
Wait, how old is Sugar currently? I mean, like, if she did age.
If she did age, she's 22.
Okay.
We should go one by one, yeah.
One by one? Okay. So starting at the top.
Or actually, I don't know if you guys if you don't have it in front of you, we should do a guessing thing. If you guys have it in front of you.
I am looking at it, yes.
Steve, do you have it in front of you?
I could get it.
No, don't. So you should guess which age they are.
But I already saw it.
You know them all already?
Well, if you told me not to look at it,
I don't know. This is an idea. It just came up.
Well, it was a dumb idea.
Okay, well.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so do we want to discuss them or just should I list them off and then we can talk about any that are interesting?
Okay,
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just go through them real quick. Doflamingo and Virgo are both 41.
No wonder why they're just super pals.
Yeah, exactly. They both got the sunglasses and everything.
And the
Treble,
burger on the face. Wait, no.
And the burger.
That's just one.
Treble is 49. Diamante is 45. And Pika is 40. So that right there tells me that like these guys, the kind of the closest circle of his group, they've probably known each other for a long time since they're all around the same age.
Also, I need to point out, Treble and Diamante look terrible for their age.
Well, Diamante, all that cocaine and groupies.
He's preserved.
Yeah.
He hasn't aged so much as preserved.
Right.
Good point.
He's a prune man. Sugar is, she's visually 10 years old. That's when she got her powers and got stuck in time. Lao Ji is 70, he is the oldest of the group, and Mr. Anime Gladius is 33.
Of course, it's the most anime of ages.
Oh yeah.
No, it isn't. The most anime of ages is like 16.
Yeah.
14.
Is it weird we just said the same number at the same time? Guess it's 16.
Jinx. Shit.
They got to be legal. Violet is 29. Machweiss is 52, which seems pretty appropriate. He's got that kind of old man beard thing going on.
Hey, 52 is the new 50. Go ahead.
Don't say he's middle-aged. How many 104-year-olds do you know?
Several? I wasn't going to say middle-aged. It's not like super old, 52. Go ahead.
Buffalo is 30. And Jola is 61, which I think is awesome because she's still like vibrantly creative artist, still going strong at 61. Jola number 1. Senor Pink.
You were obsessed with Jola.
I love Jola. She's great. Senor Pink is 46. Baby 5 is 24. And Monet is 30. And then here, the most hotly debated age, The most highly debated character in the entire group, Dellinger, 16 years old.
That was
think
debated.
about that.
Well, we didn't know if he was like going through the same thing as Sugar, since they appeared about the same age when in the flashback. That's why it was debated.
What the hell are you talking about? It's not like they both ate the fruit.
I know, but we were.
There's a lot of mystery around Dellinger.
Yeah,
a
that's
lot.
for sure.
Was this the thing that was supposed to make me sad?
Well, are you sad?
No.
Well, get sad.
Why? I expected him to be like late teens, early 20s at least.
Look, if you're not sad, I don't know what I'm going to be doing here. Like,
Maybe the disappointment is just that we didn't get an answer as to the gender, or maybe that's for the best.
Or
I don't
species.
know. Or species.
also, good points by
Or
all.
sexual orientation.
Yeah. Why the giraffe print? So yeah, Oda's comment here at the bottom is he says, yes, as you can see, you got people from the teens all the way up to the 70s. It's really, they are a big family, multi-generational family. And he says,
That's for the economy nowadays.
they're all living in the same house. So yeah, he points out, okay, this is the end of the SBS, and he mentions that there's the character popularity poll coming up, and previously this has always been done through Jump. So they advertise it in Jump. All the postcards and entry forms and things are in Jump. But he says this time they made an exception, and they're putting it in the volume as well. Now the results will be out by, I think, in the next volume when that comes out in a few months. So it's just for this one volume. But actually, if you go into the back of the volume after all of the Usopp Pirates, or maybe it's before, around then, at the end of the manga,
It's in the middle, I think, of the Usopp Pirates.
Yeah, they have.
It's right before.
Right before, okay. And then they have the forms so that you can even the volume only readers can send in their thoughts, which is interesting, because I'm sure, especially with a series like One Piece that has so many volume readers that probably are way outside of like the Jump readership.
That's true.
That's probably going to have a very interesting effect on the results.
So how many do they vote for? One or two or more? I for some reason thought it was two.
I don't. Crap! I don't think I had. I don't think you sent me the picture of the form. It's probably 3 or something. That's how they tend to do stuff with the polls. Like that's how they do the surveys in Jump.
Oh yeah, here I could send it to you right now while you talk.
Okay, it's like when they do the surveys in Jump, it's like which 3 series did you like this issue, and then they just total those up. Now,
no, I mean I know. Well,
yeah, it's two characters.
I'm guessing it's only for people in Japan, unless you know Japanese and are able to get it there.
I mean, I think it's basically just a physical paper thing. So, like, if you have the form, I mean, I guess technically you could probably just print out a picture of it online and print it out and send it in that way. But I don't know if they have like stringent rules about what will count or not. But they have it's the usual address that you send in. It's just you say One Piece popularity poll or something.
Well, maybe we could rile up some international viewers and put something together in time.
Yeah, maybe we'll put all that information together.
Is it due on October 4th?
Take a look.
Is that
October 4th is the stamp postmark deadline.
All right, so maybe we could get something together. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So we could
take a look at the fine print and see how the rules work. So
yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah, maybe we'll post something on the website about it. Thank you, Stephen, for guiding us through volume 75. It was a fun one. Not as many penis jokes, but the more penises per penis joke.
Yeah, he kept the ratio up.
Yeah. The ding ding dong dong. Anyway, final thoughts, any questions, Ed or Steve?
I'm good.
Nope.
Okay, why don't we get into the next segment then, guys?
Okay.
This is the double anime recap for episode 659 and 616. With me here is Steve.
Hello.
Yeah, so you watched both of these, right?
I did.
All right, cool. Me too. I think that's why we're the only two people here.
Makes sense. I kind of watched them both today, the date of this recording, so they kind of blurred together to me.
Yeah. I actually watched half of the first episode a week ago. Then I watched the second half of it today and the other episode today.
I'm happier that I waited to watch last week's today.
It was just so painful to watch. I didn't have to want to watch it, have to watch it if I didn't have to. So, especially 659. So it's with no further ado, we'll do episode 659, A Horrible Past, The Secret of Dressrosa first. And so we start with sort of Bartolomeo's ongoing freak out, which is kind of adorable, but it doesn't really mean that you're friends with Luffy. You're just sort of helping him out at this point. Then we go into the Colosseum, and Rebecca is doing her sort of dance fighting, and even Gyatz is sort of grudgingly forced to acknowledge how good she's doing. What'd you sort of think of this? I'm gonna need your help here because I watched this last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember this going on very long. She's just doing the same old thing she's always doing. Mm-hmm.
And Soldier, then we get the bit with Soldier, and he's just sort of avoiding everyone's questions. He's not really responding to anyone. He's just trudging through his exposition. But then we get a flashback. We go to... How long ago was this again?
Wait, what?
How long? Yeah, when King Riku was king.
Wow, I feel so crappy for not knowing.
10 years ago?
Yeah, because when did Law leave? 13 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, so 10 years ago. That makes sense because Violet would have been 19.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 10.
Okay. So yeah, Dressrosa actually. I mean, it seemed like it was a very nice place under King Riku, and I don't actually write much for the rest of this episode. It's just so sad about what was happening all episode long. I mean, Dressrosa was a very nice place there under King Riku, and makes this so much more awful. I like that Doflamingo is a warlord. He's a unique case in like being both a celestial dragon and being the pirate acknowledged by the government. So he's got everything going for him pretty much. He sort of shows up to threaten King Riku and basically hand over your country. You're like, nice country. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. So, how menacing he is in this scene is really impressive. Yeah. What did you think? You
ever get that dream when they come through the bedroom window?
Yeah.
I'm making a joke that Steven made a year ago. As much as I think it is creepy, it's almost kind of Peter Pan-esque for him to just come through the window. I'm taking my kingdom back. I can fly. No, just very creepy. I mean, Doflamingo also his seiyuu is like great for really getting just the...
If I can say one thing about Doflamingo's voice actor, he's... I don't know. His voice sounds like the voice of like a 50 or 60-year-old man, not like a 40-year-old man. But that's just like a small distinction. I always thought he sounded a little bit older than he looked. Yeah.
But then again, like he is in his 40s, which we learned this episode. I think we already kind of knew that though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he does sound a little bit older. But this guy's been going at it for a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a painful episode to watch, and it's kind of a good thing because you sort of hate Doflamingo more for it, which is the point of to hate the villain. But it's just sort of hard to watch knowing what's going to happen when there's like these really excruciating sad moments in the anime, and you've already read the manga. It makes it harder to take. Mm-hmm. Commander Tank is there, and he's sort of being the good guy. Questioning the king, but he ultimately understands. What happens next, Steve?
Well, we kind of... I'm trying to... God, I'm doing poorly here. We're in the flashback, right?
Yeah, we're well into the flashback. Tank has gotten the orders from Riku, and they're heading out into the...
Okay, so we're skipping that far ahead. And
yeah, as I told you, I didn't write that much. for this.
All right,
It's hard to watch.
Okay. Pretty much out of context, this seems very shady and very suspicious of the soldier saying, "Don't ask questions. The king wants all your money. Give it now." And the citizens, rightfully so, kind of say, "I don't know. This seems very strange. We like Riku and all, but this is a lot to ask for this late at night and all of our money. We're poor."
Yeah. It's a nice country, but we're all poor.
One thing I did like about the flashback is they did kind of add a little extra in the beginning, showing just the citizens going about their merry ways. I thought it was really nice. It was a nice touch because I felt like I haven't really seen much of the citizens other than toys, throughout this arc. So I like this implied filler. But then King Riku gets on the transponder snail.
First of all, where did that video transponder snail come from? Do they just move on their own? Do they get dispatched, or do the soldiers bring it with them? Because I'm not really sure how far the soldiers have gone.
Maybe they're just always hanging around town.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway.
But, he projects himself on there, and he bows to the people, begs them, crying, pleading for them to...
He even offers to sever his own leg, which I thought was just narrative parallel there.
Yeah. People understand that later, and then the people are so taken back by this they put all their faith into Riku, and then they start bringing all their money, and everyone's blown away. And I like, because I remember we pointed out this panel of Tank's reaction to this was drawn very well in the anime episode too. Yep. Just blown away.
Sort of is horrified,
and I even like the young boy who I think earlier in the implied filler, I think he was saying something to his dad, and dad's like, "Well, we don't have a lot of money right now, son." We see the boy give them like a penny, and I thought,
wasn't he like the first one who gave the money?
He wasn't the first one. He was just one of the ones that was definitely highlighted.
Yeah,
I honestly thought it was the sweetest thing. I thought, like, wow, that's cute. That's a nice touch.
That's how diabolically evil Doflamingo is. He's taking this king who's loved by his people, and the people want to do all these things for him, and he's making him attack them. It's the creative kind of evil. Hody Jones was never this creative. He was just like, I'm gonna hide and shoot.
I hate humans. I hate them because they're not us.
Yeah, Sorry. Hody Jones would have never thought of the way to, we wouldn't have successfully sort of gotten away with it to the level that...
Hody's just like, I'll just shoot her.
Yeah.
Sorry to any of our fans from the South.
I don't know. There's rednecks from all over the country who sound like that.
That is true. I was going to say, though, I thought... I kind of forgot in the manga stated that Dressrosa was a poor country. Like, they didn't have a ton of money. And the fact that these people could be, poor or just get by and to still support their king to this extent is truly something.
And Doflamingo is just so pleased with himself. He's laughing at the end. It
just makes it so painful because I know what's going to happen. So it just really poured salt in the wound. It really made it worse for me. And so this episode really did strike a chord because I knew what was going to happen, and it just made it worse seeing just how innocent and forgiving these characters are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of episode 659. You have any final thoughts on that one?
It ends with Doflamingo and some of his cronies surrounding him. They're like, "Ooh!" It's like, "Can we go now?" And he's like, "No, not yet." It's like, we have to have the people truly, lose faith, turn on King Riku, and then he licks his lips.
Mm-hmm. And pretty much that's where the next episode sort of picks up. Episode 660, A Nightmare, The Tragic Night of Dressrosa. Steve, you want to take this one?
I'll try. I didn't take notes.
Oh, okay. I have some notes. So we start back in the palace on the day that when Doflamingo returned. And we keep looking at young Violet. And even as like a young woman, I can't really tell how old she is because her boobs are huge. She looks slightly younger, but I've never really been sure how old
she looks like Snow White.
Yeah, actually with the hair. Anyway, and then Monet shows up and like, this can't be good. And then everyone sort of shows she's out at the gate coming to welcome the new royal family, and everyone's there, including baby Dellinger.
Yes, or little kid Dellinger. I don't like 10 years ago. Oh, so he's 6 years old.
Yeah, he's like running in slow motion. It's adorable. Sugar is there, and pretty much everyone is there. Senor Pink and Makvais and apparently, 14-year-old baby 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know this because of the volume 75 segment.
Yep. Yeah, so they sort of escort themselves into the castle and take Violet
after
hostage.
Monet being very creepy about it. Mm-hmm. Very cryptic about it.
Yeah. The younger Doflamingo family is actually pretty interesting.
I was just happy to finally see them.
Yeah. And then we get to watch Riku stab a lot of people and sort of slash everyone on the street, and like it's really
a lot more violent than I remember. I think the anime truly upped the ante because I knew this was pretty
everything
dark.
was red.
Yeah, it made it that much more powerful.
Almost hard to watch, but in a good way.
Fire everywhere, And
then Riku's having acid flashbacks. Everything gets all twisty and psychedelic. Did you see that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's like in the first third of the episode, everything starts going like orange and green and like tie-dyed and twisty, and I mean, maybe not like tie-dye, but it's like
bad trip.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Not that I would know. Yeah. So, but he does kind of have a point when he's like getting all down on himself. Like a king who can't protect his people is quite useless. So, I mean, he wishes he was stronger so that he could beat Doflamingo, but it's not really going to happen. He sort of realizes the futility of his situation.
He says he'd rather be dead than have to do this.
Yeah,
this is just brutal. Like we don't see him attacking children, but he attacks women and. Like this is dark. Like I think maybe I was kind of just numb to it, just reading through it every week. But I'm watching it in the anime, and I'm like, wow, this. Now I see just how brutal this is. And
he's sort of like thinking, or the people are thinking, he's going to he's taking all of our money, and and then I was thinking, what do they think he's going to do with it? Trade in for a better country? I don't know. I mean, it's this plan is. The situation is slightly implausible.
Unfortunately, it's so chaotic right now that people, logic is the last thing on people's minds.
And Doflamingo shows up and he's laughing. I'm like, does nobody notice this guy laughing? I'm betting he did it.
Does anyone realize how evil his laugh sounds?
Yes.
It's not a triumphant hero laugh, like It's just I'm the hero. Hello.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, that's why he made them wait in the last episode was to make Riku even look that much worse in the eyes of the people.
Yeah.
And then to save them and make sure that everyone sees you doing it and they will want you back.
He waited for people to start saying, how could Riku do this? I don't understand. You could even say, I hate King Riku.
But then back to reality, and we're in Block D.
Yes.
And then basically Rebecca is just, dodging attacks there, and we end up back with Soldier, the Tontadas, Usopp, Frankie, and Robin. And it's kind of funny. Well, Soldier sort of describes Viola's sacrifice to the assembled people there about how she because Doflamingo wanted her power, he spared Riku's life, and he's alive somewhere on the island, but they don't know that he's already sort of been revealed to the people who are in the pit. And we see Don Chinjao down there, Sai, I think, Boo, I think, who has, and everyone's sort of been forgotten. Yeah, but also it's fun. It's also funny when Soldier's doing his serious monologue. And we're watching Violet ride a wooden toy horse. It's kind of
fun. I was trying to think of who, because was it Toy Soldier said that he was missing some memories. I'm guessing maybe it was referring to the fellow soldiers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and look at, you see Frankie crying for everybody?
Him rolling on the floor.
Yeah.
I think that's a new step for Frankie and his eternal sadness.
It's a very sad story. Yeah. And Soldier just sort of, shakes his head and I was thinking about Dressrosa as sort of like this it reminds me less and less of Spain, or maybe it kind of has that Spanish feel, but it's like a South American country because like they displaced the native population and people they made people disappear. Like disappearances were actually like a thing in this, South American sort of dictatorships of the 70s and 80s. Like, well, they'd take people out. I believe it was the fascist government of Chile would take people out on planes and drop them in the Pacific Ocean. That's how they dealt with dissidents in the 70s, apparently.
Well, the big thing.
But they make people forget about them. It's a completely different way here, but I was just noticing a parallel.
The big thing here also is that Toy Soldier revealed that King Riku is still alive, but I think that was mentioned. But yeah, that's the whole reason why Viola agreed to join up with Doflamingo to spare her father. He's alive in this country somewhere.
Yeah, and then all sort of all the thing where Soldier talks about like the inner thoughts of the toys, how they hate having been transformed, and just sort of thinking about how all your toys secretly hate you. So they've decided to Soldier and the Tontanas have decided to launch their offensive today. So
all because Doflamingo, it was originally announced that Doflamingo was stepping down as a warlord. And then that turned out to be false. And that just riled them up so much that they said, you know what, screw it. We're doing this. We're doing this today. Enough is enough.
Joke's on you, Straw Hats.
And then we get the whole, we're so sorry. This is all our fault.
Yeah.
I guess it's now or never, right? I guess this gag is kind of funny, but I never really felt like this gag was necessary because it's like, oh, we're so sorry. It's like, what? The fact that you guys are here just, gives them a fighting chance,
Yeah. We also see Abdullah and Jeet after they've been transformed into toys, and they've described themselves as the Lone Wolf and the Maverick, and they've been working together the entire time. It's just a little bit of cognitive dissonance there. And then Zoro finally found Luffy. Or Luffy finally found Zoro, actually. Zoro couldn't find anything.
Well, he didn't have to go far. Zoro was just standing there the entire time.
Yep. And that's the end of the episode.
Yes.
Final thoughts on the episode there.
I thought the flashback was handled very well.
I think it might have been better as a single episode if they could have just gotten it to like having the entire episode be contained like that. But the parts, watching it back to back sort of reduced that, but it was really good.
And we're going chapter by chapter, so.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you next week for more anime recap.
There's a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Right now.
Just the way they did it made it so much more impactful this week.
And apparently, a special someone is debuting next week's episode, and I'm mildly interested in that.
All right. Well, go on to the next segment then.
Let's do it.
This is the manga recap for chapter 759, Secret Plan. What's going on the cover page here, Ed?
Secrets. No, it's actually The Solitary Journey of Jinbei, First Son of the Sea, Volume 8. Save the capsized ship.
Now, and Steve, can you talk about this for 20 minutes?
All the guys on the ship are like, thank you!
They all sound like 24.
I imagine that it's like the guy in Zelda, and he's like, thank you!
Oh, thank you! Yes, just imagine hearing that from about 100 plus people.
Although he appears to
imagine
just
it.
be holding the ship in the sea there, because it's quite broken and would sink otherwise. Mm-hmm. He's just sort of holding it there.
Where was Jinbei when the Titanic was?
It's a question we all ask ourselves.
Right?
Where were you, Jinbei? Near, far, wherever you are.
Oh, God.
Oh man.
Really tough
By
that.
the way,
Slick
before
Celine
we talk
Dion
about-
burn, Steve.
Before we talk about the chapter 2, I just want to point out this is the first week that Jump is doing the Jump Start thing, where they're going to start having the first 3 chapters of every new series. And the one that they're starting it with this week is being translated by CCC Caleb from Arlong Park, who is one of the senior members there. So he has joined the ranks of Shonen Jump. So
Congratulations to him.
Congrats.
And I'm really happy to read some of these. It's going to be cool to get series as they come out in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 300 pages this week. It's almost the size of a regular issue of Jump.
And
so
like One Piece is on
it's
page,
good.
114.
114. Why
is
did you
unusual.
stick us in there? That's what she said. Okay. Any other comments on the front? Or
Nope, we can't even see the
Shonen
kitten
Jump?
face. Can't even see the face.
I assume he's crying because that's what he's been doing most of this time. Okay, Ed, I guess we could start the chapter. Wow, that's a record time right there. Unless
And so,
Steve.
no, we're back
Unless you
on the
want to
third.
talk about each individual on that boat.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Ed, go ahead.
Are you sure?
On the third step of the new royal plateau, Cavendish is shocked that the toys are falling apart, and they sort of go. They sort of clatter to the ground like so many, basically like bones, and they transform back into soldiers. And this answers Robin's question that she had not asked yet of why the toys were so much larger. She was keeping that one to herself.
Yeah. Oh, that answers that question I never asked anyone.
Yeah. And Bartolomeo rejoices that his barrier is back. He says, "All right, all right."
all right.
I imagine Matthew McConaughey a little bit. Although they have a similar upper body.
So we've gone from Greg to Matthew McConaughey. I guess that's a good Greg compliment, actually.
Did you say Greg compliment?
a Greg compliment?
There, Greg.
Cavendish is shocked that they would turn their own soldiers into toys. Are we really shocked by this, Cavendish? Really? I mean, come on.
It's like the
You've seen
cardinal
what you-
sin of shonen manga.
Yeah.
How dare you do stuff to your own men?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And so Mr. Anime is sort of, I don't know what like attitude this is here, but he's just like, again? Sugar's out again?
I think it's like exasperated, like just like really, again.
Come on, man. We see Sugar passed out as her underlings sort of hover over her, and then back on the plateau, the guys who were the giant toys were talking about how terrifying it was. They were afraid they'd be toys for the rest of their lives, and Gladius reassures them, "No, of course we would have transformed you back after the thing was over." Yeah, no, we forgot about your existence already. And he adjusts his glasses.
That's the yeah, no, I totally am telling the truth right now, yeah.
Wink.
I would wink, but
Why are you winking?
you can't see my eyes, so I'm just gonna move my glasses up slightly.
So I'm gonna do some sort of other nervous habit.
Okay, Josh, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so now we go to the top floor of the palace on the fourth step. And Luffy is yelling out, Bellamy. Or Bellamy, probably.
Or
Bellamy. Or Bellamy. Yeah. In some sort of state of being aware that he is there.
Confirming that Bellamy is there.
Bellamy, Bellew.
Wow, that was terrible. Come on, Ed.
And so you have Treble and Doflamingo addressing them, and pretty much just telling them that we've fought before, and Bellamy is kind of just torn to shreds at this point, and Luffy's concerned about him, and he's saying, I don't care about what we've done in the past. He's a friend of mine now, and he goes on to say like, yeah, Doflamingo says Bellamy came here for me to kill him, and so at this point it's pretty much just Luffy and Dofi facing off and talking about, he's asking like, why don't you want to settle your score with Bellamy? And Luffy says, because I respect him too much. So.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting in this page that there's a lot of, shots from the shoulders and neck up. There's a lot of really close in shots, except for the one on the right side of the page. It's in sort of like, you can see everyone all together in that panel. But everything else is just a picture of people's heads.
That's conversation.
Well, Bellamy also upgraded to the really, really big neck club, so
that's true.
He's been there since the beginning of this arc, ever since we've seen him.
Oh yeah, but he's got to get his shit in.
Yeah.
But I guess a lot of it's kind of. I would say that the dialogue right now is really focused on their expressions and the dialogue, so it doesn't really surprise me that it's a lot of close-up panels.
Steven.
Yeah, anytime you see all the guys, everything is a close-up on their face. It's because generally they're talking about something that is, emotional or important. It's important that you see what they're feeling. It's not just like action or what have you. So.
And remember, Oda's actually doing more each time you see a face or a body, because that's the stuff that Oda's actually drawing and not the assistants. Mm-hmm. So he's working hard on that page until 3 a.m, and then waking up again at like 5. Steve, right?
Right. Doflamingo yanks Bellamy by the hair and picks his head up. Face still shrouded in in shadow or darkness, because we don't yet see the brutality of Doflamingo. And Doflamingo says, "There's no escaping the nature you're born with." As we get the drip drip boom reveal of Bellamy just beaten nearly to death, and he's been brutalized. He's whopped. He's got a big bump over his left eye, and Doflamingo really knocks him down a peg and says, "No matter where you go, you're nothing more than a thug." Hee hee.
This kind of falls in line with I think we were talking about last week, the law, the lead bullet stuff. Is he just enjoys really torturing the hell out of people and not necessarily killing them? So it's your typical supervillain in that way.
Yeah, totally.
Go ahead, sorry.
And Luffy's like, what the hell are you talking about? Bellamy did change. And Bellamy's just like, enough, just kill me. And it really enraged Luffy right here. I haven't seen Luffy make an expression quite like that in a while, I guess.
I don't remember the last time.
Like, this is like his pupils are a little more.
That's almost meme worthy, because I haven't seen that face like ever.
Mm-hmm. Just very angry, and then so he sends out a kick at him, telling or yelling at Doflamingo to let him go, and Doflamingo, like the biggest douchebag imaginable, just blocks the kick with Bellamy's face.
No, it's also important to note that Law is saying not to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't.
No, whatever.
No, don't do that. And almost like in a comedic fashion, just as Luffy went from badass to just, don't. I'm sorry, Bellamy.
That is true.
And Bellamy, if he already wanted to die, now it's just worse. he looks even worse now.
No, a sandal in my face.
Just look at
Luffy.
Just the cocky cock expression that Doflamingo has in that middle panel as he's blocking the kick. He's like,
this is enjoyable to me.
Yeah, so I feel like there are two things. First of all, Doflamingo totally does Luffy's Arlong defense against him.
Oh yeah,
where, like he holds up the buddy, and then Luffy kicks him. And Luffy is totally doing the like, oh my god, I just accidentally kicked the neighbor's toddler in the face look. Like, oh no.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Steven,
Okay.
are you ready for this?
Yes, okay. I'm ready. Let's get our talking hats on. Law has his talking hat on already. He's like, okay, what did you just promise me? You can't let him get to you. This is exactly what he wants. Doflamingo, provocation is his. That's his style. This is exactly what he's good at. He's basically just a professional troll here.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, exactly. He definitely has his Doflamingo troll face on for most of this arc, and
it's in 3 places on this page.
Yeah, exactly.
The top and the left, and then
anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I could do better.
Yeah.
Don't lose your cool. Stay in school. I don't know how that applies to Luffy. Don't do drugs. Drink your milk.
Steven, go ahead.
Law points out this. If you lose your cool, this could be fatal. Remember what happened to me in the first fight, because that is true. That Law kind of went off on his own, and he paid a price for that. And he points out Doflamingo is callous and calculating. He will seize on anything he can in order to gain an advantage. And Treble just loses his shit here. He's like, I got a snot hanger. He's just loving it. He can't believe how funny it was that Luffy kicked Bellamy. He's like, oh, he kicked him right in the face, smackaroo. He's just loving it.
What accent does he have?
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's gross. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's the gross accent. And that
I imagine the B word fat then.
That immediately pisses off Luffy, and I was like, "What did I just say?" So yeah, Doflamingo is like, callous is not really the right word here, because let's look back at all of the things you have done to cross me.
Now, let's be clear. When this comes to the anime, this will be a nice 20-episode arc going back to what just happened. Yeah.
Let's talk about what it's like. What you did to me. Well, I talk about it when I could just show it to you.
And remember that all of this starts with him experimenting on children.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
About that part.
So screw you, Doflamingo.
So what's the list here? Law. He smashed Doflamingo's SAD tanks. He attacked Virgo and Monet. He abducted Caesar.
Oh, not Caesar.
Caesar's doing jazz hands.
But Caesar was so nice and awesome.
In Dressrosa, he freed all of the toys. Now they're going after the Smile Factory. Doflamingo is plenty pissed. And in fact, the only reason he's laughing is because he's so angry that he can't do anything else. He's just furious. Rest in peace, John Rivers. And Doflamingo now is like, and now you think you could just come right up to me and attack me? He's like, oh God, this. You know what? Everything you've done since you showed back up is just making a mess of things. It kind of feels like all of your desperation about what happened 13 years ago is coming back.
Come on, Steven. You wrote royal mess in there. It's a royal mess?
Royal mess.
Like a royal
mess.
You're royally flushing this down the toilet.
I like that. I like that. That was intentional, I'm sure. The kingdom has been a mess. I'm the king, and Riku, anyway.
Get it?
You're just ruining it, Ed. Steven worked for hours on that.
I liked it.
Anyway, so Law is...
It's something that gets less funny every time you say it.
So, yeah, as in the previous page, he was saying, so it's like 13 years ago all over again. And so Law's like, if it weren't for what happened 13 years ago, I would never have come back to do this, to seek revenge on you. And Doflamingo said, well... If it weren't for that incident, then you'd be my third Corazon. 2 interesting things. There was an incident. I mean,
I'm pretty sure we knew that.
But we know there was a specific thing that happened and not just like a series of events. And the third Corazon, there were 2 others before the previous, or there was 1 other before the previous.
Third Corazon the third.
Yep.
But I'm just restating.
Well, one of them was obviously his brother, but we don't know what the other
the one before that. Or I guess there might have been
interesting.
one after, since there were 13 years. Maybe he was third in line. Well, that's possible. Anyway, he pulls out a black knight, and by that I mean a body double. Was there an explanation for why it's called that, Stephen?
Monty Python homage?
Well, first of all, the knight thing, the ito, it's like all of Doflamingo's moves where they end with ito,
Right.
which means string. So naito. I kind of wonder maybe if the black knight part, because one of the things, so like in Japanese, kagemusha is like a body double, and that means like a shadow warrior. So I wonder if that's maybe he's doing kind of a play on that with the black and the shadow.
All right, maybe. Anyway, so the body double comes straight at Law, and he blocks it with a sword. And Luffy's like, "Well, if this is all happening, I'm just gonna try and kick Doflamingo's ass." And in comes Bellamy, proving Law's point here, swiping at Luffy, who's confused. Even though at this point, come on, Luffy. And Bellamy smacks him to the side, and Luffy's like, "Look, I said I was sorry for kicking you in the face. Yeah, I know that's not fun. I know I punched you in the face a few years ago, too." Okay, he doesn't say these things, but he's like, I'm sorry. And Law points out, look, he's being controlled. And you see Bellamy swiping at him while Doflamingo controls him there on the bottom.
Doflamingo is finally living up his Unlimited Cruise interpretation. If you played the video games, you'll understand that.
Okay.
And I didn't play that one.
Ed.
The plot thickens. Bellamy sobs with his bloody face, just please stop me, Straw Hat. And Law speaks up. He says, I don't know how you two know each other, but you're gonna have to beat him unconscious. And then
If you want to stop this, yeah. That's Law.
Yeah. And then Bellamy tells him to do it, but Luffy says, I can't do that. We are friends.
No, because that's the sound Bellamy's
Bellamy's definitely making that sound. Wow, Luffy really makes friends with everyone. We'll talk about it at the end. Keep going, Ed, sorry.
Yeah. And then Doflamingo speaks up. One more good hit should be enough, and it would be worthy for him. And he tells Law, remember what I taught you ages ago? The weak do not have the right to choose how they die. That's more good Doflamingo ideology right there. It's indicative of how warped his thinking is. It makes him a more understandable villain. His madness.
Interesting point there.
Stephen, go ahead, sorry.
An interesting point there is that that quote that he's quoting, we first saw spoken by Law back on Punk Hazard, which is very interesting because it kind of suggests that, like, maybe because Law has this association with Doflamingo, that part of like Doflamingo's his quote, the things that he would say and his philosophies are kind of ingrained in Law's DNA, and it's this kind of piece of self-loathing that Law keeps. He can't help but sometimes parrot these sayings, even though they're from the guy he hates.
Well, Doflamingo also makes some correct points about. I mean, they're sad to think about, but they're correct points about life, like in Marineford, history is written by the winners, that kind of thing. And it is true, a lot of the times the weak, don't really have a choice in the matter. I don't think his philosophies are wrong, but they're also not really the way to think about things sometimes, They're not Luffy's philosophy, I'll say that much.
It's the opposite of Luffy's philosophy.
Yeah, Luffy's like, you could do whatever the hell you want. And he hates people who think like that, like Kobe at the beginning of the series. Yeah. It's like, I just want to say you're in die. Just what Kobe basically said. Go ahead, Ed, sorry.
Yeah, and Luffy says he's angry at Doflamingo because he won't fight for himself. And then he yells out to Law and he says, I'm going to whoop him, and good. I'm mad now.
I thought he was mad before.
Yeah, he's even madder now.
Yeah, what about that panel with the really mad face? It doesn't get madder than that.
Yeah. Law's like, I told you not to get worked up. That was our secret plan. Luffy's like, screw it.
No,
he
I'm taking
bears
it now.
back with an attack. his hand starts to flame and turn black, and Luffy says that Doflamingo is going to pay. Or no, that's Law talking about Luffy, I think.
Yeah, because Luffy is now attacking Law, it looks like. What's going on?
So we go to Treble, who's super excited about the fact that it looks like he's going to knock out Law. And he says, is Straw Hat crazy? Hilarious. And then he does his gross laugh. And then at that point, I guess the plan comes into effect, and Law then casts a room around all of them, and then switches places with Luffy. And at that point, Doflamingo notices what's going on, and he's like, damn, and then he gets punched with the Red Hawk right in the gut. Finally connects.
Beautiful panel.
He's actually switching places between himself and Doflamingo.
Oh, he switches with Dolph. So they flip-flop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's switching himself. Also, it's cool to note the different dispositions of Doflamingo as he tries to process what's going on here. First, why the hell is this happening? Why is Luffy attacking him? And then, shit, I'm in trouble here, potentially. And then, oh, shit, there's a giant punch coming straight at me.
It's so satisfying to finally see Doflamingo physically assaulted.
It's almost a little too easy.
Finally. Yeah,
it was a clever plan, though.
Before.
Very clever plan.
No, it is a clever. It's clever in its intricacies. It was. I had to read it a few times because I just want to figure out exactly what was going on, because it is a little complicated because Law's power kind of literally scrambles what's going on. But it's very clever.
Yeah, the last panel, there's a little deceiving. Like, it's hard to see where the punch actually lands.
Yeah,
but I guess
right in the stomach.
Right in the stomach.
Yeah, I'm seeing the fists hit him right in his Oda-esque 6-pack.
30-pack, I think they're called in One Piece. Yeah, beautiful to see that, especially after 3D2Y where we saw that recently. Anyway, go ahead.
Me.
I guess Steve, you're finishing this off. Yeah.
So we see the after effects of the Red Hawk as the explosion kind of finishes up from the back of Doflamingo. Coughs up blood. Good. You deserve it, you prick. Trouble yells out Doofy, and then we zoom out as he realizes that Law is sitting where Law was. Law is sitting where Doflamingo was sitting on his big cushy
throne-ish couch thing.
I wouldn't say. It's more like that blow-up chair.
His big Pee-wee's Playhouse chair.
For your romp room.
The blow-up chairs you get.
And Law just looks up at Trouble with "Got you now, you dumbass," and Trouble's like, "No," and with Radio Knife, which I'm not familiar with that attack, takes a bunch of slices out of Trouble, who's what does he look like here? I don't know. He looks like someone that got cut up.
Well said, thank you.
Even the snot bubbles got cut.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they did.
Okay. Yeah.
If anything, that's what he was aiming for.
It seems like there's some sort of there's some lightning bolts going around Law's sword, and then some lightning bolts surrounding.
Well, no, I think
Trouble.
the one around his sword is the clank back the sword back into the sheath.
No, there's
but there's also lightning above him. Above
check
his
the
leg.
check the panel where he's sitting on the Pee-wee's Playhouse chair.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Cherry, and then look at the lightning bolts surrounding Treble. Some sort of interesting new attack. I assume it's called radio, probably because it involves electricity, maybe in some sort of way.
It's a radio knife is a surgical tool. It's like a surgical knife that has like a high frequency edge. So
it's kind of like a progressive knife from Gundam.
No, I don't know that reference.
Sure. But Law says, "Straw Hat, you're the worst," and in typical sitcom Luffy fashion, he says, "Hey, you're in the same generation."
Play out for the feeds.
Standing tall. Yeah, that's it.
Josh, do you want to give thoughts of the chapter first?
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. This is pretty much the culmination of what a lot of us were waiting for, with the fight between Doflamingo and Law and Luffy. And I know it's not over yet. There's no way that he's down in one punch, but it's off to a good start at least. I'm curious to see where it goes from here. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's more hinting at Corazon kind of opened up. There's still some more answers that need to happen here. But yeah, and that I think it's probably one of the best chapters we've had in a long time. A lot of action.
Stephen.
Yeah, it was a great chapter. It's good to finally get to the the climax of what this arc has been leading up to, and I thought it was also it was really cool. We've been talking about how neat it would be to see Luffy and Law working together instead of just being like every other arc, a Luffy versus the big bad guy, and so it was really cool to see them kind of do this conspiratorial like combo move to hit both of the bad guys, and work together in that way. That was really neat to see. I think
it's not something Luffy does very often. No. Can you think of another time he's done it? I mean, except during Aqua Laguna, he did it with Zoro. That was like a combination attack, but that wasn't like attacking another person.
I feel like it's happened.
He did the thing in Drum with Sanji, where Sanji spun his leg around and shot him out.
It might have happened in Fishman Island. I just don't remember that arc. Sorry.
It's all a dream. Yeah.
The other question, though, I have is did they plan this? Because he also says
it was in the attack.
You're the worst, Straw Hat. How could you do that? Now I had to improvise.
I'm sure they had gotten into the scenario where they're both trying to take down Doflamingo. I mean, it's so simple that you're surprised. I was surprised I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
But it's so simple once it happens. You're like, of course they could do that.
Steve.
Felt like a really short chapter, but it was
it's one scene except for that first page here.
Yeah. But very satisfying. Like I said, it was nice to see Doflamingo get hit for once. Really liked that Bellamy was kind of like the focal point of this chapter. I think I called a while back, he's going to get his Vegeta Cell Games moment, I think, in this fight. And I'm looking forward to it.
He may have already served his purpose. I would not be surprised, since he's kind of beaten to beyond a bloody.
I think he's going to get a chance at some more dialogue, and I would really like to see him help out in some sort of way. I don't think it's going to be like, I would have beaten Straw Hat if I didn't get punched by that spring. I don't know, but I would like to see him get involved and help out these guys.
Here's what I have to ask. I mean, how injured is Doflamingo realistically going to be off of this one attack? I mean, it's a strong attack, but he's a freaking warlord, and I mean, it's like Luffy's super move, but it's only like one.
Well, he's not just a warlord; he's probably one of the strongest.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that there's a variety of strengths.
Although it was unquestioned that he would be killed by Kaido,
and Red Hawk didn't stop Hody either. So
I don't know. I don't think any of us think.
Of the fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great beginning, as I think Josh said. It's fantastic.
It's kind of a tradition, I think, for Luffy to start off with like one really good punch, like with Arlong. He did it with Caesar too, back in Punk Hazard. It happens a lot.
So Luffy's going to get the beat down now, and the villain's going to get his heat back.
There you go. Now, what about Treble though? Like, is he done for? Like,
no one's ever really completely done for when Law slices them up, because they always seem to be able to be put back together.
Also, isn't he a Logia?
That's a good question.
Did we ever determine that?
I don't know.
Because he had his head sliced off or something by Usopp, right? Didn't something happen? I'm sorry, I'm losing my memory. It wasn't that long ago. Well, I also want to ask, we could go back to Treble if you guys want to talk more about Treble, but did you guys think the Bellamy kind of transition here, in Luffy's mind at least, happened a little bit quick? Because that's the only qualm I have about a chapter that I did really love.
Really, what do you mean?
Because even for Luffy, who is pretty open, Bellamy, I mean, they did have a past, and I'm not surprised that he forgave him somewhat, but it seems, I feel like it just happened very quickly.
No, I think Luffy already kind of warmed up to Bellamy during the Block B.
Yeah, but what in particular
but Bellamy's the one here who's being betrayed. Bellamy's the one who's being betrayed by Doflamingo, and that's the thing that hurts Luffy the most.
Well, I don't qualm with the fact that Doflamingo's behaviors against Bellamy enrage Luffy in some way, but the question I more have is why does Bellamy in particular motivate him so much here? Not necessarily Doflamingo acting like a douchebag, because that never fails to motivate.
Because he made peace with him. Like there was a scene where he's like I'm not going to laugh at you anymore, and they fought in the Colosseum, and so there was that sort of like not like brotherly, but they competed together, and so there was like this sort of sense of camaraderie from that, and I don't think Luffy is the kind of guy to hold a grudge. So
I think the world of One Piece is a world of honor.
Over it by then.
Yeah, the world of One Piece is a world based on honor, I think, a lot. And Luffy respects that Bellamy did the honorable thing and apologized essentially to him. And Doflamingo has betrayed him. And, I don't know, it made sense to me.
When Bellamy looked up to him, and that was the whole kind of... Yeah, I see.
Right.
All right. So, any other thoughts on this chapter? If you want to talk more about
you know what we haven't seen in a long time?
What?
Zoro and Pika.
Yeah, I expect that we will see that pretty soon.
Yeah.
They have to finish that up before this finishes up. That's like one of the main reasons,
This is the beginning of the fight. Yeah.
I don't think anyone really thinks this is the end, but it is incredibly satisfying to see. I still don't completely get how the Red Hawk attack works, or why fire comes out the other side of you but doesn't really go through you. I'm not going to question that.
Hey, he's a rubber person.
Thank you.
Start from there.
Thank you, Steve.
Logic it out.
So, any final thoughts? We're good?
It's a solid, good chapter. Nice and quick, but like I said, very satisfying.
Okay. I think we're good. It's just much shorter than the normal manga recaps. I'm not used to it. Why don't we get into the next segment? You guys ready?
All right.
Yep.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories and then go through them. I'm sorry, I don't have anything this week to add on to that. Why don't we start on Reddit? We have a lot of great questions from everyone. Or actually, no, let's start on Reddit and then we'll go into other stuff. First one's from OG Crew, who has 3 questions. Let's see if we could get to all of them here. First, do you think Usopp and the others can see life spirits and aura with their observation haki? Will be able to see Doflamingo's strings. So far, no one has been able to see them. Not even Luffy could tell that Bellamy was being controlled. However, Law could, so maybe he is using observation haki or something like that.
There's no indication of that. I mean, there's no indication that everyone's haki is the same. So, I mean, that's what Mantra was, kind of, so...
I think also Law just knew because he knows Doflamingo and what he does. So,
yeah, he has that prior exposure to that stuff.
Right.
I guess it's a good question. Is it like visible to the naked eye, the string? If you're like looking very closely, can you see the string? Like if he's not doing anything and he's just standing there, and I don't know. He also asked, do you think Oda is going to set up fights with non-Straw Hats? For example, Dellinger showing up to take on Bartolomeo. And he poses other fights too, but that's the important one.
I don't know who would be a fan of that, but sure.
Also, third and final question from him. Maybe this has been asked already, but how have Greg and Firecrouch been? It's been a while since they've been on.
They went back to their home planet.
Been hanging out together.
Firecrouch is pursuing his art.
He is, yeah, and Greg is pursuing his art, which is his job. Yeah.
It's just hard with the time difference and when we record to get
Greg
it.
also has like 8 different jobs at this point.
If nothing else, I'm sure we'll have him on at the New Year.
Yeah,
He did. I know he got some really cool news lately that I'm sure he'll be really excited to share with everyone. But I don't want to spoil that for him. So look forward to something cool from Greg.
I don't think
soon.
I even know this. I might. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, okay, Stephen. I hope to have, if Greg is listening, let me know when you're available, and I'll somehow make it work. I'll stay up until 4 a.m. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, next one comes from Starlight Baptism. Okay, new listener to. Is that from something?
Sounds nice.
New listener to the podcast, and he really enjoys it. Thanks for the great work. Manga question: why do you think Luffy likes Bellamy as much as he does? And also, since he's a new listener, he missed the legendary steak and salad debate. Can you explain? Let's start with, well, we kind of answered the Luffy and Bellamy thing. I asked that question for some reason. So steak and salad basically is what happens when your memory gets taken away and all you could remember is the salad portion of your steak and salad meal. The question is it the same kind of meal? Do you still remember the experience at all the same way? And I think we came to the conclusion that, salad without the steak just isn't steak and salad. Anything to add to that?
Oh, yeah.
It just clears it up.
It's salad.
Yep.
Does that really clear it up? It was related to sugar.
Salad without the steak is just salad.
Salad.
It was related to sugar's powers. I probably should have prefaced that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it was a theory of debate we had on how sugar's powers worked. I think it came into question when Usopp was running away.
Yeah.
We're like, is this Usopp being Usopp, or has Usopp's bravery gone the wayside because he's forgotten about them raiding Enies lobby to save Robin?
Right.
This one comes from Tracker OC, manga comment. I don't think I've seen the original, that much plot gratification in one place and at one time. Yay, Oda. Question, are your pants all right after the last several pages?
No offense, but how long have you been reading the manga? I mean, this is good.
It's a lot.
This is good, but,
Yeah.
I mean, we get something like this a few times every arc, so.
Yeah, there's got to be a few of these chapters per arc, except again, Fishman Island, or it just took too long to get to that.
It's not because this isn't like the gratification of like finally beating the villain. I mean, punching him is pretty good, but beating
That's true.
him
Like
until
the
he's
crocodile
done.
at the end of Alabasta. That's just so much gratification at one moment.
Or like Rob Lucci punching.
That's
Eneru
more of a
through
relief. Rob Lucci punching Eneru?
No. I was talking about two different things.
All right, there was a comma I missed.
Punching him through the bell.
Anyway, serious question he also has. Was translating Law's move difficult? Did you do any research for it? I'm guessing that goes to Steven.
No, it was like Raggio Naifu. So
How did you do that?
It was not very hard.
I love how it's just assumed you're on. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you are
it's
on
usually
every
right,
single
yeah.
episode. Black Steel. No, let's keep it that way, Steven. Black Steel says, did you notice how slow Dellinger ran in episode 660? Do you think his heels gave him some sort of speed boost? Or can give him some sort of...
No, it was slow motion Baywatch style. It's fan service.
It's Steve Yurko fan service. Let's be honest.
Did they have like his shirt like slowly waving up and down as he ran?
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Isn't there also that one dun, 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 that when you for the beach?
Was it Chariots of Fire?
Is that what it is? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chariots of Fire.
That's how I imagine Dellinger running. Sorry to put that in everyone's head.
Spicy.
Stupid, sexy Dellinger. Typeset says, do you think this flashback will be the longest one in One Piece history? Which flashback?
Possibly an anime-only watcher? No?
Well, did it end this week?
Yeah, it ended this week.
So the answer to that is no. I guess he means the one when we eventually get to Law.
Yeah, like the Corazon one, maybe? That could be.
It could be.
No.
I don't think we'll ever get a flashback as long as the Skypea one.
Oh my god, that was a whole
true.
volume. Just about, except for like one chapter, I think it was a whole volume. I mean, it was, in retrospect, it was good, but I cannot imagine reading that week to week. I would have been angry as hell.
That was like the story. That was like manga Inception, where it's like, oh my god, here's another layer that we have to get back out of before we can continue this arc and actually get back down to the surface. Yeah, that was crazy.
You're right. It is like manga Inception.
Yeah.
I think the King Riku one though is actually really good. Just because it's not too long, but I mean, it's definitely necessary to set up everything that's going on in Dressrosa. Plus, it kind of establishes Doflamingo as to what he is and what he can do.
Next one. This one is from Agron82. How do you think Doflamingo is able to control so many people with just a few fingers? I'm going to say 10.
Powers. He's got them.
Oh, God.
Yeah, see, this is what we talk about when people have like developed their devil fruit powers. That's why he's able to do that. And like,
who says it's one string per finger? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, who knows how he's able to do that? But he's clear. I mean, he's an older guy at this point. He's like in his 40s, I think, right?
Stay tuned for the Volume 75 recap.
Oh, it does say in there, doesn't it?
Well, that we probably did that already.
Yeah, I mean, as you heard in that, you know the answer to this question.
Go listen to it again. Damn it.
Yeah.
We really should do this in order. Volturus LM says, "What's up, OPP? We found out Sugar's headcracker dolls. Headcracker? Oh, I guess technically that's
that's what they were called.
Yeah. Oh, they actually had a name.
You could call them skull crackers. You know, crack some skulls. As I do the hand gesture that no one can see.
So we found out our headcracker dolls are made up of several Don Quixote family cronies, or as we call them, schmucks. He didn't say that. How do you think she was able to form them together into giant toys? Perhaps by making them form a docking technique.
Why? Are they actually made up of more than one soldier?
They were made of 8.
Yeah, there are 8 of them.
That's right.
Were they? Voltron style.
Well, it's
Form, arms, and legs.
Steve, go back and listen to the manga recap.
yeah, well, it showed them kind of. They weren't really like ooze, but they were like some sort of like weird liquidy. I'd have to go back and look at the panel, but they didn't look like they were like human shape when they formed the big one. Yeah. I might be mistaken, but so yeah, I guess at that point she could have made them into anything.
It was the secret of the ooze.
Could be it.
Devin says, "Oh look, the One Piece podcast episode number count caught up with the English dub. Congrats." I think it's the other way around, right? At this point, well, I guess it goes back and forth. At this point, well, let's see who wins. I don't think it's going to be us. It can't actually be us. It's going to be impossible. I hope it's not us.
Yeah, me too.
Ed, why don't we get into
Peace the tweet.
We have Peace the tweet. We have questions for Josh, and we also have questions in general. I think we're going to just start with our general questions first. Ed, take it away.
Okay, the first question this week comes from, let's see here, scroll up. Who do you think will be the next person to unlock hockey?
There's a lot of hockey happening.
A lot of people thought Robin last week when we talked about it.
Yeah, I like Robin of the Straw Hats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Senor Law asks, do you guys think that we'll get to see Law using hockey during his fight against Dofi? Again with the hockey.
Will there be hockey and hockey-esque activities?
I thought we covered this last week.
Well, some of these are possibly from like right after the episode. So,
yeah.
Jared D. Sanchez asks, what would happen if a devil fruit fell into the ocean? Well, somebody without devil fruit powers would probably go in and get it.
Didn't we answer this last week?
Isn't that we did? I think we answered.
We did.
That. But to add to it something new. To add to it something new. Isn't that where I'm not positive, but I thought that's where Shanks found the devil fruit because it was in a box, right? It was in like a treasure box. I guess it couldn't have. I don't know why I thought it was under the ocean for some reason.
I think they plundered it from some ship or something.
Do you think we're ever going to find out? What happened there?
Because they be pirate.
I kind of want to see a Shanks spinoff now. This is making me. think there's a lot of potential One Piece spin-offs, to be honest. Anyway, Ed, don't repeat a question or else you're gone.
Benedict Johansson asks, do you think Bellamy will end up joining the crew by the end of this arc?
No.
Never.
I don't think he.
I don't want
could
that,
see him.
no.
I could see him joining Law's crew because Law likes just
That's true.
having random ass former pirate captains join his crew.
Plus, they have something in common. They're both like former Doflamingo guys. Disillusioned.
Yeah, I could see that. Wow, that's a good theory there. Go ahead.
Jackson G asked, can you see Usopp using hockey to dodge lasers like Luffy? Or will it only be used for sniping? The hockey questions never stop. Hashtag.
I think it's going to be used more for sniping. You also got to remember that Luffy's also an expert fighter, where Usopp is not. So I don't know.
Usopp's not as bad as I think.
I'm trying to think of an answer that's better than yes or no.
No.
Next question. Well, less of a question, but Bartolomeo tells us to bring the McRib back.
I don't think we have that power.
We'll get on that.
Okay, Steve's getting on that. Blame him if it doesn't come back.
Acid Wayne asks, do you think Doflamingo's devil fruit operates similarly to the laws in that using it takes a toll on his stamina? I think that seems to be the...
Normally, every devil fruit, yeah.
Most devil
But
fruit.
he's one of the people who've trained his devil fruit so much that maybe he gets to use it a lot longer than most people would be able to.
Well, I mean, we've all played video games. You get what is that stamina bar at the top? You get the health bar, and then you get like the magic bar or whatever that is.
Kids with your controllers.
Exactly.
Joysticks.
And I think it's safe to say Doflamingo's is probably very large, and Law's is probably also pretty big, but not as large as Doflamingo's. This sounds terrible out of context, I'm realizing. Go ahead.
OPP Japan production assistant William asks, anything we fans can do to make Josh's job easier for acquiring rights to future anime specials like 3D2Y?
I'm guessing that was for Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch them would be the first one. And buy them when they come out would be the second one. But really,
You say
a lot
when?
of it, well, yeah. I mean, we can get into that in a second. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it's going to just come down to definitely talking about them online. Like we do a lot of, research and, go out there to make sure that the stuff that we are acquiring or are looking to acquire actually have some interest from the fan base. So there was a lot of excitement around 3D2Y, which made this a lot easier for us. So definitely things like that. So.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Next question comes from Sean Phillips, who asks, will you guys dub the special episode of Nami, even though you've already dubbed Arlong Park?
There's a lot of assumptions in that question.
There
Yes.
are a lot of assumptions. So I guess this can lead into a small tangent, I guess, about TV specials. So,
Hooray.
so yeah, the way
Not
that
hockey, so.
yeah, sorry guys.
Damn it.
So yeah, I guess just a little backstory on the 3D2Y opportunity presented itself pretty quickly. So once because even when it was announced, it was in Japan, it was one of those like, hey, this thing's coming out soon. And so, we quickly started working with Toei to see what we can do to get it, because we didn't have a precedence in place of acquiring TV specials, because they're kind of a weird mix between, like, contractually we have everything that's considered an episode in the series, and then you have bigger things like these, which are kind of like movies in terms of length.
You also have the weird situation where you've dubbed things like some of the Detective Straw Hat episodes, like the old-timey Japan ones, because those were numbered episodes, but the actual first time that appears is in a special episode that hasn't been released yet. It results in this weird situation where some things have been released and other things haven't.
Yeah, and so again, like the precedence isn't really there in terms of like what is what, and so with this, a big part of the initiatives that FUNimation are looking at is just getting as much content as we can, not just for dub home video, but also for subtitle watchers and simulcast watchers and things like that. So yeah, we had to work really quickly with Toei to kind of draw up a contract and secure the rights and stuff like that for 3D2Y. And a part of that, was me kind of working out a plan and working with our acquisitions team to now approach them and see what else we can do about the previous TV specials that came out, like Nami and Luffy and Mary and things like that, and figure out, first of all, can we get them? And if so, how do we want to release them? So it's a possibility, I guess, to answer Sean's question, and we're looking at it. So it's just a matter of figuring out when that's all going to happen.
But if those were to see a DVD release, they would almost certainly be dubbed if they were to be on DVD.
Oh, yeah, totally. Anything we put on home video will be dubbed for the most part, which, I mean, and it kind of puts things like 3D2Y in a weird place. Yeah. But when you think about it, the fan base for One Piece, you have some that are just straight up dub watchers. And when you have something like Film Z coming out, they kind of know going into it what to expect. They know that they're jumping ahead in the timeline and things like that, and that's just the decision that they have to make to watch it to kind of remain current. So that's something similar like this. Like, we don't want to punish the week-to-week fan base and the subtitled fan base and hold on to this and not put it out for the next 2.5 years just to wait till we catch up with the episodes. So that's why we're just trying to acquire everything as they come through and remain current. So I hope some people will realize that. Some people kind of, we often see a mixed bag of comments of people who are like, well, why are you guys even acquiring this? We're only at Thriller Bark in the dub. And so it's just a matter of, just reminding everyone, like, look, there's a huge breadth of fan base of One Piece, both dub and sub watchers. And so, the things we do are for everyone. And so everyone just has to play nice, I guess.
Yep.
And if you're not caught up, just don't watch.
Yeah, just don't watch.
Just don't look.
It'll be there when you're ready.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There's one more piece to tweet.
There's also 2 more on Twitter that they didn't hashtag. But go ahead.
Danny Newman asks, now Doflamingo has had his. Who else in the show do you think deserves a good Red Hawk from Luffy?
All of the villains. Well, the thing is, we haven't really learned to hate people like Kaido and Big Mom yet. I'm sure we will, or maybe for one of them and not the other. Who knows? Mm-hmm. And Blackbeard,
of course, yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah,
the big ones obviously deserve at least a Red Hawk. I think probably a much stronger one by the time Luffy gets there, if not another move. We also had 2 more. We have a comment and a question. Andy says to thank you for acquiring the streaming rights to 3D2Y. And Jared asks, are the Toonami airings helping out sales for the voyages?
I mean, it's hard to draw a direct correlation, but I mean, we're definitely seeing we have seen a spike in the fan base in general. So that's everything from streaming to voyage and collection sales and things like that. So, a lot of that's just the combined efforts of all of the different marketing things that we're doing mixed with all the convention stuff, the games coming out, the Toonami airing. So that's the good, from a brand management perspective, that's the way we want to position it, is just, put One Piece, the brand, the show, the game, just in front of everyone at so many different angles that it's hard to not be exposed to it. And that's, an easy way to grow the fan base, because, we're fortunate to have a show like One Piece where it's actually really good content once you kind of get over the initial hurdle that is, 700 chapters and things like that. So, it's definitely working in our favor, and it's only going to continue to get more and more popular as long as the show remains good, which I'm not too concerned with.
No, so. Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about that. At least, I mean, things have been getting better. I also have to ask. I know Piece Together normally other people ask, but since we're talking about it, Is there anything you could talk about with the big Amazon sets that were announced?
Yeah, sure. So I think I might have kind of alluded to this one of the previous times I was on, but
so.
that was another one of the projects I was working on while I was doing all the Dragon Ball stuff, was figuring out kind of establishing a third release in part of our cycle. So, we have the voyages and the collections, but also coming up with some sort of box set that would encompass a lot of the episodes at a pretty decent price point. But we wanted to add some sort of collectible angle to it, just because, a lot of this stuff, we already feel bad enough when people, they buy the voyages. We love that real solid hardcore fan base, and then a lot of them will come back and buy the collections because they're collectors. And so then to, bring a third product line to market, we don't want to keep having the same people buy the same stuff. So with these, and I believe it or not, I'm actually looking, because I'm at the office right now, I'm looking at some early concepts for packaging. So, and they're coming along pretty cool. Our design team is really excited about this release line. Right now, if you go to Amazon, there's just like filler images that we kind of sent over. But essentially, once we figure out the whole configuration, we're kind of going for a more like high-end collectible look and feel. So it's going to be kind of classy in the way that it looks. And the way we ended up landing on is that we're going to have these collection boxes are going to encompass 4 of the collections, and each box is going to be themed after one of the Straw Hats. So the first one's going to be Luffy, the second one's going to be Zoro, and then so on and so forth. So these have a very long life cycle to them. At this point, it's, we're looking at including collectible stuff in the packaging. So we still haven't finalized everything that's going in them yet. But once they're all going to be themed to the character that the box is centered around. So once we figure out all that stuff, we're going to work on some product shots and designs to kind of share with the fan base, so they can kind of get a good look at what is going to be in these things.
Well, you also have the One Piece 101s, so you could throw those in for each set. Although I guess set 9 would be, what is that, like 40? Oh God, that's a lot of sets in.
I have this crazy Excel spreadsheet that goes all the way to I think I'm up to the year 2021 now, in terms of if One Piece never stops and it keeps releasing at this rate.
Oh geez, it'll be at episode 900.
Yeah, exactly. So
wait, that'll actually perfectly cover the entire series. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm still around in 2021, then and everything matches up, then that will be amazing. But
we target the release for the first one of those, first quarter 2015, or?
Yeah. So the first year coming out in Q1 of 2015, and they are Amazon exclusives. And I think I kind of explained this also last time I was on, that Amazon they've come to us and they've kind of expressed a lot of want to kind of get more into the anime game. You guys, anyone who watches anime on Hulu or Netflix, they might have noticed that as well, that a lot of these outlets are starting to kind of see just how strong and passionate the anime fan base is. And so, they're wanting to, find a way to capitalize on that and, get those fans over to their, platform or website or whatnot. And so, they asked, us to come up with some sort of exclusive deal for them to sell strictly on their site. And that's where these box sets that we were already looking at doing kind of fit perfectly into that.
And you'll have them through the 2020s or 30s.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be around and we'll be 50 years old and we'll be podcasting about One Piece. No, it's really exciting. And they're $70, right? Or less. I know the MSRP is around.
Yeah, MSRP is right at $99.98, and that's just because they include, again, for the collections, and then we're still trying to finalize what all is going in there in terms of a collectible, all the different items and tchotchkes and stuff, and So, I'm just trying to make sure that it's definitely worth the price, and that the value that you're getting is definitely something that even people who already own the collections but are like super hardcore fans, even if it's just a specific character and you want that box set, that it's something that you'd want to get.
I'm being enticed here. I guess is the goal.
Enticed. I'm already tumescent.
Okay. Let's do a few Gmail questions, then we'll round it off. So this one comes from Raul. So I listened to episode 75 of the podcast because
I remember that one. Oh, yes. Good old 75.
I gotta look which one that was.
I'll look it up. Keep going.
Because I didn't know about the podcast back then. Neither did we. But
yeah, even though we were 75 episodes in.
But I
welcome to the One Piece podcast. I have no idea
actually,
what
Zach,
this is.
that's 12 years later.
It's
very important. It's a very important episode.
I do.
Maybe you should have read the entire thing.
Oh yeah, it's in the next sentence.
But likes to wing it.
Yeah, I do that. But I wanted to know your opinions about the death of Ace that you covered in that chapter review. I have to say it is a surreal experience listening to it today, from Zach saying he doesn't know what the Sabo thing was about, referring to Dadan as a male. Okay, guys.
Idiot.
And having no major complaints about the One Piece anime. To Steve listing Bellamy as the only villain in the series that died. You idiot. It is so funny listening to that with the knowledge that we have nowadays. Anyway, keep up the good work, guys. And well, how was that good work? That was terrible work. We should have been fired.
This is back when we'd get comments on our posts. I think it's a big deal episode. I remember that one because I think we recorded it like immediately. That like
it was in a snowstorm. I remember that.
It was.
Also, Ace died.
Yeah, this was right before Katsucon that year. Yeah,
it was 2010.
It was during Snowpocalypse, the second of the big storms that season.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you for the kind words. I'm always afraid to listen to those episodes. Except Stephen, what was it? I prophesized one thing.
Yeah, you had guessed somehow that it was going to be a 2-year wait when the Straw Hats came back to Shabandi, but it was like a joke. It was like, oh, they're going to be there 2 years later. Like, where's Luffy? And then that's exactly what it was.
So aside from that one accidental prophecy, a lot of times when we predict things, they're not true, but we predict a lot, and Oda is...
We're not soothsayers.
And also, it wouldn't be exciting if we predicted everything correctly. Like, I remember when I listened to the Lost podcasts and they would predict something that happened, and if it happened, I'm like, damn it, they spoiled me, kind of. So it's probably nicer that risk is very low, except for Steven if he says anything. Everything he says comes true. He also says, I'm not sure about this, but after seeing the newest anime episode, I think I heard some new soundtracks. Is there any information about the release of these awesome tracks of the Dressrosa arc? I am also very curious about it because this arc has had some of the best music I think we've heard in the anime in a long time. And original music. I guess I'm the only one who has feelings about that.
Some of the tracks did sound new.
We've had a lot of classical guitar stuff, the Spanish guitar. I am dying for an album to come out, and trust me, you guys will know when I know, because I'm excited for that. And I'll be looking out for it. The last question for Piece Together comes from Oliver. Now that the Flame fruit is no longer up for grabs, I have an idea for what Burgess could end up doing this arc. He says Doflamingo...
Going home?
Probably. No, Doflamingo is probably going to end up defeated without his Smile Factory, without his Warlord status, and Law ready to deal the final blow. Wow, Law, okay. I think Burgess could then step in and offer Doflamingo and his executive Blackbeard's protections. Offer protection to them. You get it. In exchange for his loyalty. We know Doflamingo cares about his family, and it's possible he may be willing to swallow his pride for their safety. I think this could be the beginning of a trend where we see major pirate antagonists join up with Blackbeard after their defeat. This allows these important characters to stay relevant and gives the opportunity for future rematches. For example, if Luffy and Law have to team up to defeat Kaido, then Law could face Kaido one-on-one when Luffy fights Blackbeard. And it also symbolizes Blackbeard's darkness causes others to gravitate toward him. What do you guys think? This is a good theory.
It's a very good theory. I unfortunately, I don't think that is going to happen. Only because just looking at the traditional, I guess, shonen template that's established, like, I think once Doflamingo's defeated, he'll probably be defeated, and we won't come back to him. He probably won't pull like a crocodile or anything like that. But I would love to see that happen. I do want to see pirate alliances that go both ways, not just for the good guys, but the bad guys as well. Mm-hmm. I think that would be pretty cool.
I mean, it also sort of happens to be where the villains aren't necessarily the people who are. I mean, we don't know much about what the other pirate alliance is doing at this point. So really the bad guys in One Piece are just the people who happen to be fighting Luffy at that time. We don't really know, other than like Kid apparently has a propensity to attack civilians. Other than that, we don't really know why he's a bad guy, or if he won't eventually, team up with Luffy again like he did on Shimandi. So that pirate alliance might not even end up being bad guys.
Bartolomeo cut off a dude's tongue. I mean, he's not all that great either.
Yeah.
And he's killed, hundreds of civilians, we've been told, or I don't know, some amount. He was a gang leader, but we all love him. So, and Luffy is fine with him. So, tolerating him might be the better word. So, Luffy just tends to have everyone gravitate toward him, more so than Blackbeard's literal gravitational powers, although Fujitora again. Anyway, let's round off, I guess, unless anyone has any final thoughts on that. No? Ready to end this thing?
No. Yes.
Yes.
Zach can't go on further unless this monster.
I need the permission.
How do I know if someone wants to end the show? I can't end the show now.
This has been the Unofficial One Piece Podcast, episode 336 for the week of Monday, September 8th, 2014. We were talking about it before we were recording, but One Piece Film Z comes out at the end of this month, so make sure to pick that up if you haven't. It's available for pre-order now. Also, check out One Piece 3D2Y on Funimation and Crunchyroll. And any other... Is it on Hulu? I should know that.
It'll actually be on Hulu on Wednesday.
Oh, there you go. Breaking news right there. Tomorrow, for those listening to it, it'll be on Hulu. If listening to this when it comes out. Anything else coming out? The next collection set comes out, right? Oh, I'm sorry. The next Voyage comes out at the end of the month, too, for Thriller Bark.
So Thriller Bark, yeah. And then, we have a few more throughout the end of the year. So
I was taking your plugging time and plugging it for you accidentally. Also sounds bad out of context. Anyway, what else is happening? Steven, what are you up to?
I am tweeting at Translatosaurus. That's about it, I think.
You have books that just came out, though, right? That you translate?
And I have books that are always coming out. It's a constant flow.
So buy manga and Steven.
Yeah, just right. Check. I'm already in your collection somewhere. You just don't know it yet.
Look at the credits for each of all the manga you have.
Right.
Make sure it doesn't
total them up. Total them up, and then tweet me the results at Translatosaurus.
Steve, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm going to be at a convention this weekend alongside fellow podcast member, The Dude. It's the Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland. Come check us out at table A11. I'll have comics and stuff. My comics, the comics that I made.
Yeah, I've been loving. I've been saying it every week, but I love Jason. It's a good.
Oh, you mean Jason, the Princes of the Universe, which you can read at jasoncomic.tumblr.com.
Oh my god, plugging so much.
Plugging? You mean like plugging my Tumblr account at steveyurko.tumblr.com, or follow me at Twitter at steveyurko.
Josh,
what do you possibly mean, Zach?
I don't know. Josh, what's coming out on? What have you been working on?
So a couple One Piece related things. So Space Dandy is finishing up on Toonami soon, so keep watching that if you guys are enjoying it. And then we also have Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods coming out on Blu-ray and DVD at the beginning of October. So check that out. Hopefully everyone got to go see that in theaters.
Congrats on the success for that. That's a great, right?
Yeah.
It was like the number 11 or 10 anime or something of all time in theaters. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep. And the opening week it came in number 6 actually in the box office, which was kind of crazy for it being a limited release. So yeah, we were extremely happy and surprised with the results, and so big thanks to everyone who went and saw DBZ in theaters, and hopefully we can do that again soon. So yeah, and then just we mentioned most of the One Piece stuff, but yeah, we do have more collections coming out. Thriller Bark kicking off at the end of the month, and then those One Piece box sets, which we'll keep putting information out as it becomes available. And then we're also working on a little something special for International Talk Like a Pirate Day, which is coming up, I think, the 19th. We always try to do something fun with One Piece every year for that, so stay tuned for that. And you can follow me on Twitter at Josh Kocurek, which is Kocurek. And I try to tweet there when I can. So
Cool. Lots of cool stuff. On a completely unrelated note, Steve, I know you were asking about this. I think in 20 Minutes of Bullshit, but the next Space Dandy soundtrack comes out in October, and it's 2 CDs. So that gasp is warranted, yes. I suggest everyone pick it up if you can. I'm excited for that. Anyway, Ed, where could I assume, do you have anything to plug?
Nope.
Okay, so how could the good people contact us?
Anybody got any law-related jobs in the DC area? I'm interested in that. But other than that, I'm on this podcast every week.
I really should have asked that more when I was in your situation. Yeah,
Just straight up begging works sometimes,
yeah I know. I'm pride. It's so stupid.
Works better with jobs than women.
I don't know. Well, it depends the women you're looking for.
True. But as for the podcast, you can contact the podcast at onepiecepodcast.com, twitter.com, youtube.com, and facebook.com/onepiecepodcast. onepiecepodcast@gmail.com is our email address. We put things up at onepiecepodcast.tumblr.com occasionally. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name, and don't forget to subscribe on the Stitcher Smart Radio app. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAGI. That number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, and hockey. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. It's a really fun one and lots of really cool stuff to talk about. I just hope the chapter next week was as good as this week. It's he keeps setting the bar higher and higher because last week was great and then this week. Anyway, I think that's everything. So for the unofficial One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ta-ta.
Crazy rainbow さ Twinkle twinkle rainbow さ コバルトブルーな色を重ねてゆこう Crazy rainbow さ Twinkle twinkle rainbow さ 瞳に映った悲しいリアルを壊せぬくもりつきの羽をあげようシュールなだってほしい心から